Do you feel frustrated trying to grow your franchise? Are you having trouble balancing your consumer and franchise development marketing? Do you wish there was an easier way? Imagine if you had a proven roadmap to take your franchise's marketing from costing you to making you money. That's why we've created the Franchise Growth Blueprint. We walk you through the exact same process that we use to run franchise marketing campaigns for our clients at scale that has resulted in triple-digit growth. This blueprint isn't for anyone. It's not for people just starting a franchise. It's not for franchises without long-term goals. This is for franchises that want to scale up their marketing in a predictable and profitable way using a proven roadmap. If you want to sell more franchises, keep your current franchisees happy, and learn from people who have already done it, go to franchisegrowthblueprint.com and sign up today. That's franchisegrowthblueprint.com. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Franchise Marketing Podcast. Today, I have a fellow Canadian here, Doug McGregor, the Managing Director of the Better Software Company. Doug, welcome.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be on this podcast with you.
Yeah, totally. So for those who, of our listeners who don't know you and Better, could you give us a brief introduction?
Better as a company, we had our roots going back to 2015. We're a franchise operating system. So when I say franchise operating, so we're focused primarily on the service industry, and we're all about helping the franchisees in their day-to-day operations. From billing to collecting money to follow-up emails to notifications, everything that helps a franchisee run their day-to-day operations. And then we have a really cool control center that sits on top of that allows the franchisor to really control what happens at the franchisee level from the sense of consistency and branding, making sure that people are following proper formats, linking up leads, and everything that the franchisor needs, as well as a really cool royalty reporting tool.
Very cool. I love this all-in-one comprehensive take on it. So how did you first come up with the idea, or how was the company initially founded on what you wanted to do and build?
That's a really good question, because our roots really go back to, I don't know how many years back, but our CEO and founder, a gentleman named was Steve Cody. Steve had built and sold off a number of franchises over his career, and one thing that frustrated the heck out of him is too many pieces of software were disconnected, and so he hired on a developer back. I'm going to say back in the early 90s, and started to develop this platform to try to link up a whole bunch of pieces of disparate softwares into one tool. And we continued to develop that over the years, and then at one point he decided to take the software that he had developed and try to sell it to other people. So that's kind of where the genesis of the software came from.
Very cool. And I love how it started off scratching your own itch, because it truly goes after something that as a franchisee is a problem. And as you start to roll it out, you see more and more franchisees having that same issue. So absolutely love it.
And the interesting thing too that really was driving Steve bonkers is trying to really get an understanding of what was happening at the franchisee level, and that was a big focus of our software, is make sure that the franchisor had a clear view of what was happening down below at the franchisee level.
Totally. I can imagine how valuable that transparency and insight is, because being able to understand how both on an individual franchisee level, each one is performing, and then even from a geographical or from an entire system level, I'm sure there are some key insights that head office can mine.
Yeah, and and it's often a matter of uh, by knowing what's happening, you can also take the best of what some franchisees are doing, and take those ideas and share them across the platform with other franchisees. And so it's not all about just trying to figure out what people are doing wrong. More often than not, it's trying to figure out what people are doing right, and what can we do within the system to take some of those learnings and share with the other franchisees and make the whole of the operation better.
That's a great point. That's a great point. And to that, as a follow-up question, what are some KPIs that you see franchisors needing to track consistently to see franchisee success and growth?
It's a really interesting question, because I don't think there's an easy answer to that, in the sense that that depending on the type of service industry you're in, um, you're gonna have different KPIs. But one thing I will say that uh, almost across the board that everyone wants to get a really good handle on is lead conversions. And so if they want to know how many leads are actually being converted, how many are being properly followed up on. Is there a proper pipeline being followed to ensure that these leads aren't just falling through the cracks, because it costs a lot of money to generate a lead generally, and you don't want any of this falling through the cracks. So certainly lead conversion would be probably the number one KPI. Uh, then, you know, obviously everything to do with revenue, whether it be, an average revenue per sale, uh, total revenue, total revenue within certain categories. It could be a situation where, you've got, for argument's sake, 7 or 8 different products that you're offering, and a franchisee is doing very well in 5 of them, but maybe 2 or 3 they're kind of ignoring. Um, that type of thing needs to be properly monitored, obviously.
Very good points. So you have a unique view of both the franchisor and the franchisee side because you work and provide operational, software and insight for them. What are some things that you see franchises doing right and doing wrong on the ops side?
I think one of the biggest things that we've seen happen over the years is that the franchisor not ensuring that there is enough controls put in place at the franchisee level. The franchisor owns the brand. The franchisor uh, controls the brand, and if you have one bad franchisee that is not following a system and not following the proper branding protocols, and is kind of a rebel, it can very easily ruin a whole franchise brand. So I think over the years we've found that as we've implemented our system and we've helped franchisors tighten down um, controls, and especially controls when it comes to branding, that has been a huge plus for our franchisors, and it's also been a huge plus for the franchisees, because I again, I don't want to stress that it's a situation where the franchisor is trying to uh, minutely monitor every detail within the franchisee, but it is to really help ensure that systems are being followed properly, and
Mhm.
that it's going to be something that's going to be for the benefit of all.
That's a great point. So I'd love to learn more and dive a little deeper into what can franchises do to ensure that consistency um, is there across all franchisees.
I think some of the key findings is obviously branding. So when you're doing your advertising, ensure that everyone. Good example. You send out an invoice, and maybe when you send out an invoice, you attach a flyer to go with it to promote other services within the company.
Hmm.
Make sure that that flyer is the same flyer that the whole company uses, not something that you've created because maybe you have one additional service that the other guys aren't using that you want to get creative by offering this one additional service. So you send out something that doesn't follow the branding of the company. Um, and then it's uh, make sure that the products and services that you offer are consistent with what everyone else is offering. That it's not something that is out of left field. Again, it's all about I think trying to have that consistency, and we recognize that different markets
Hmm.
are every market is a little bit unique. Um, so we want to also ensure that the franchisee does have enough freedom to recognize what is working in their market and be able to respond accordingly. But make sure that the franchisor has that proper oversight of what is going on in that unique market. So if someone needs something, a flyer that is a little bit different than what everybody else has, great. The franchisor can work with you to provide that flyer. Um, uh, just make sure that the franchisor though has that proper oversight. Um, so when you need it, then when the franchisee needs it, they just can work with the franchisor to ensure that they get it.
Totally. And I love that you brought up branding consistency because it's something that I've seen over and over and over again where, one franchisee will decide to change a color or change how the logo is shown or, a perfect example is as you brought up, changing the flyer of some sort. And what these franchisees don't realize is that having a strong and consistent brand, it's like a rising tide lifts all boats, right? So maintaining that consistency is totally key, and I love that you brought it up. I'm curious, Doug, what other things have you been seeing that franchisors should be doing to grow and scale? We'll get right back to the show, but do you feel frustrated trying to grow your franchise? Are you having trouble balancing your consumer and franchise development marketing? Do you wish there was an easier way? Imagine if you had a roadmap to take your franchise's marketing from costing you to making you money. That's why we've created the Franchise Growth Blueprint. To find out more, visit franchisegrowthblueprint.com. That's franchisegrowthblueprint.com. Now back to today's episode.
I get asked that all the time by my franchisors. What can we do to help them grow and scale? And and it's not so much that what our software can do to help you grow. What our software can do is help ensure that there is a consistency in your brand, and along with that consistency is it's a software that people genuinely enjoy using. We get phenomenal ratings on whether it be Capterra or Google reviews or whatever, and so being able to allow your franchise, any prospective new franchisees to be able to talk to the existing um, franchisees and just let them know that what the system is all about and how much it has helped them grow their business. I think that's really where we fit in and where we might help the franchisor.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And again, like you're bringing up great points in that the something I've heard over and over again is maintaining that consistent feedback loop is what I like to call it of how as a franchisor can you listen better to franchisees and then incorporate that further into your system and scale it out across your other partners. So absolutely love that. So Doug, one question I always like to ask, I know you've kind of mentioned it already here, but what advice would you give someone just starting out as a franchisor?
You know, I'm going to start to sound like a broken record, but ensure from the very start that um, recognize that you need some controls over your franchisees.
Mhm.
Uh, and when I say control, consistency and in your branding, consistency in your invoicing templates, your quoting templates or estimating templates, any flyers that you send out, uh, and make sure you've got the ability to monitor um, almost on a daily basis what is actually happening at your franchisee level, so you can spot trends quickly and try to address them. Um, so uh, our software just has a phenomenal ability from a look down perspective from the franchisor to make sure that they can see what's happening. And so when we often find with younger franchisors, they don't think they need that type of control. And maybe it's not a big deal when they only have 3, 4, 5 franchisees, but when start getting up to 8, 10, 12 franchisees, uh, it's so important to be able to know at a glance what is happening within your total organization. And too many people, they'll discount that ability in the early days, not thinking that they need to spend money for that type of functionality.
Mm-hmm. Totally. I love it. So Doug, we are coming near the end of the episode, and um, w- what I like to do is end each one with something that I call the lightning round. So it's just fast-paced questions. Don't worry, I'm not going to throw you any curveballs here. So you ready?
All right, I'm ready.
Awesome. So first question is, what is your favorite tool or app that you can't live without?
Uh, I think the app would be LinkedIn. I live and die by LinkedIn. It's such a great source of information.
Totally. And I love how active the franchise community is on it.
Yeah, it surprises me just how active they are. They definitely there's a lot of information can be obtained through LinkedIn.
For sure. So second question is, what is your favorite book, Doug?
I just finished one that I've now read over a couple of times. I really like it. It's called the Lean Startup by Eric Rice, and I really enjoyed it. It's a very insightful book.
You know what? I love that book as well. It's one of those ones that, every time you read it, you gain more insights into the process and framework. So third question, Doug, who is the franchise leader that you look up to?
I think that one's pretty easy for me. Actually, I'll say it in two parts. One would be Steve Cody, our CEO. Um, he's a fascinating individual. And something I didn't share. Steve actually has dyslexia, and so when he was in high school, he recognized that going on in school was not going to be his answer. So he actually took I think it was something like $1,200 that his grandpa had set aside for him to maybe use as college fund, use that to start up his first business. And I think it was about, I don't know, 6 or 7 years later, he developed a window cleaning business into the largest commercial window cleaning operation in our fair city of Ottawa, and sold it off, and that was his first venture. So a $1,200 investment turned into probably a $1 million enterprise in a fairly short period of time. And also he's got such integrity and he's just a really dynamic leader. And the second thing I would say is our franchisor owners. what a, each and every one of them are unique and very dynamic, and I just love dealing with these guys.
Awesome. And Doug, last question, I promise. Where can people find out more about you and your company?
Well, they can find me on LinkedIn. It's Doug McGregor on LinkedIn. Pretty easy to find. And the company itself, it's on the web. You can find us at thebettersoftwarecompany.com. When you start typing better software, it tends to pop up pretty easily.
Awesome. Doug, thank you so much for coming on the show. You shared a ton of insights that I know our audience is going to really enjoy.
Well, I thank you for giving me this opportunity. It's been a fun 30 minutes.
Awesome. Thanks, and bye for now.
Bye now.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Franchise Marketing Podcast. If you found this episode useful, share it with a friend and subscribe now so you don't miss out on any upcoming episodes. And until then, happy marketing.